I wouldn't do anything that would make Nigel Farage Prime Minister. That would be an absolute red line, and that includes proportional representation. I think in Nigel Farage, we're dealing with a fascist, and as much as I will do anything, almost anything, to make sure we have an actual democracy in this country, I would say making a fascist the Prime Minister would seem counterproductive. In terms of a Labour coalition, it's something...
So you wouldn't support PR if it meant that made Nigel Farage Prime Minister?
No. I just think ultimately you have to have a red line. And although, if you said to me, what's the number one thing that I think would change the British political system, I would say it's PR. Now, before I get atted, I realise that that can seem privileged because people are really struggling with their wages, they're struggling with the cost of living crisis, they're struggling with fascism and racism. All of those things absolutely matter. But until we get proportional representation, I think it's very difficult to deal with those things meaningfully because we know we could get Farage being Prime Minister on 25 to 30% of the vote. Despite a majority not electing him, he could get a huge majority. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's a reasonable scenario. So PR has to absolutely be the number one thing that I think will unlock all the other things that so many of us want. I do also think, though, that there has to be basic standards. And seeing Nigel Farage go into number 10, I think no longer becomes about a democratic or constitutional conversation. I think it becomes about a crisis, particularly for minority communities, particularly for people who are already terrified and scared. And I could absolutely rule out that under no circumstances would I accept any part in making Nigel Farage Prime Minister.